Starbucks was born in 1971 in Seattle, and its founders had no intention of serving lattes or cappuccinos. Jerry Baldwin, Zev Siegel, and Gordon Boca were passionate about high-quality coffee beans and equipment. Inspired by the coffee roasting traditions of Alfred Peet, they opened a small store in Pike Place Market focused purely on selling whole bean coffee to customers who brewed at home. At the time, American coffee culture was dominated by cheap, pre-ground supermarket brands. Starbucks positioned itself as a premium alternative, educating customers about origin, roast, and freshness. The store felt more like a specialty shop than a cafe, with burlap sacks, the smell of roasted beans, and staff who acted more like coffee guides than salespeople. Howard Schultz joined Starbucks in 1982 as Director of Retail Operations and Marketing. At that point, the company had only a handful of stores and was still focused on selling beans and equipment. Schultz immediately saw untapped potential, believing Starbucks could become more than a retailer and instead evolve into a place where people gathered around coffee. Unlike the founders, Schultz was fascinated by the emotional side of coffee. He didn't just see a product, but a daily ritual capable of building loyalty and routine. His ideas often clashed with the original vision, creating tension inside the company. But he was convinced Starbucks could redefine how Americans experienced coffee outside their homes. In 1983, Schultz traveled to Italy and experienced Milan's espresso bars for the first time. He was struck not only by the quality of the coffee, but by the atmosphere. Cafes were vibrant social hubs where baristas knew customers by name and people stood at counters talking, laughing, and connecting throughout the day. This trip reshaped his vision completely. Schultz realized coffee could be the center of a social experience, not just a beverage consumed quickly. He returned to Seattle determined to bring that Italian cafe culture to the United States. Even though the founders believed Americans would never embrace that slower, communal style, Schultz's core idea was radical at the time. Starbucks would not compete only on taste or price, but on experience. He imagined stores that felt warm, welcoming, and consistent, where customers could relax between home and work. Coffee would be the excuse, but the true product would be atmosphere, comfort, and belonging. This concept became known as the third place, a space that was neither home nor office. By designing stores with cozy seating, music, and friendly service, Starbucks turned simple coffee runs into small daily escapes. That emotional positioning would later allow the company to charge premium prices without losing customer loyalty. When Schultz proposed serving espresso drinks, the founders rejected the idea, fearing it would distract from their core business. Frustrated but determined, Schultz left Starbucks in 1985 and launched his own coffee bar company called Il Giornale. It was a risky move, and success was far from guaranteed. 2 years later, the original Starbucks owners decided to sell the company. Schultz seized the opportunity and raised money to buy it, merging Starbucks with Il Giornale. In a dramatic twist, the man whose vision had been rejected now controlled the brand and could finally implement the cafe experience he believed in. After acquiring Starbucks, Howard Schultz faced a massive challenge. Turning a small regional brand into a national coffee chain required serious capital. Many investors were skeptical, arguing Americans would never pay premium prices for coffee regularly. Schultz pitched not just a beverage business, but a lifestyle brand built on emotional connection and daily ritual. He heard no countless times, but persistence became his main asset. Schultz refined his pitch, showing how repeat visits and strong brand identity could create predictable revenue. Eventually, he secured backing from investors who believed in long-term growth. That funding allowed Starbucks to open more stores while maintaining the carefully crafted customer experience. During the 1990s, Starbucks adopted an aggressive expansion strategy that surprised many analysts. Instead of growing slowly, the company opened stores rapidly, often placing multiple locations in the same neighborhood. This approach wasn't accidental. Starbucks wanted visibility, convenience, and brand dominance before competitors could establish themselves. By saturating areas with stores, Starbucks made itself the default coffee option. Customers didn't have to search. A Starbucks was always nearby. While critics feared overextension, the strategy strengthened brand familiarity and customer habits. The company wasn't just selling coffee, it was embedding itself into people's daily routes and routines. Starbucks mastered consumer psychology by transforming coffee into a small daily luxury. Holding a branded cup became a subtle status symbol, signaling taste, lifestyle, and even productivity. The experience of ordering a customized drink also gave customers a sense of control and personal identity, turning a simple purchase into a personal ritual. There is also a neurological element. Familiar routines and small rewards release dopamine, reinforcing habits over time. Starbucks positioned itself as part of the morning routine, the work break, or the study session. Customers weren't just buying caffeine. They were buying comfort, predictability, and a moment that felt uniquely theirs. From the beginning, Starbucks invested heavily in branding. The green siren logo, earthy color palette, and consistent store design created a recognizable identity worldwide. Everything from the menu boards to the music was carefully curated to make customers feel they were entering the same familiar environment, no matter the city. Branding also extended to storytelling. Starbucks didn't just talk about coffee. It talked about origin, farmers, and craftsmanship. This narrative elevated the product from a commodity to an artisanal experience. Customers felt they were participating in something more meaningful than a simple transaction, strengthening emotional loyalty to the brand. Starbucks created its own vocabulary, turning drink sizes into tall, grande, and venti. This unique language differentiated the brand from traditional cafes and fast food chains. It made ordering feel like part of a special club, where customers learned the terminology and became more immersed in the Starbucks culture. Although some people found it confusing at first, the terminology became a powerful branding tool. It subtly encouraged customers to adopt the brand's identity and rituals. Over time, using Starbucks language felt normal, even automatic, showing how deeply the company had embedded itself into everyday consumer behavior. As Starbucks expanded globally, it faced the challenge of entering cultures with long-established coffee traditions. In countries like Italy and France, consumers already had strong café habits. Starbucks adapted by balancing its core brand identity with local preferences, adjusting store designs, menu items, and pricing strategies to fit regional expectations. In other markets, especially in Asia, Starbucks became a premium, aspirational brand associated with Western lifestyle. Stores often served as meeting spots for students and professionals, reinforcing the third-place concept abroad. This ability to remain globally recognizable while locally flexible became a key factor in the company's international success. By the mid-2000s, Starbucks' rapid growth began to hurt the very experience that made it special. Stores became more standardized and less personal, while the smell of fresh coffee was replaced by automated machines. Many loyal customers felt the brand was losing its soul in the pursuit of efficiency and expansion. The 2008 financial crisis made things worse. Sales slowed, and Starbucks was forced to close hundreds of underperforming stores. For the first time, the company had to confront the limits of its growth strategy. It became clear that scale without soul was a dangerous path, and major changes were needed to restore the brand's identity. In 2008, Howard Schultz returned as CEO during one of the most difficult periods in Starbucks history. He believed the company had drifted too far from its core identity. Instead of focusing only on speed and expansion, Schultz pushed to revive the emotional connection, craftsmanship, and store atmosphere that originally defined the brand. One symbolic move showed his commitment. Starbucks temporarily closed thousands of stores to retrain baristas on how to properly make espresso. It was a costly decision, but it sent a clear message that quality and experience mattered more than short-term sales. Schultz aimed to bring back the soul that rapid growth had diluted. Starbucks built a reputation for treating employees, whom it calls partners, better than many retail companies. Even part-time workers gained access to benefits like healthcare and stock options. This approach was not only ethical but strategic, aiming to reduce turnover and ensure employees felt invested in the company's success. The company also introduced programs to pay for employees' college education, reinforcing its image as a socially responsible employer. Schultz believed that if workers felt respected and supported, they would pass that positivity on to customers. In this way, employee satisfaction became directly linked to customer experience and brand strength. Starbucks transformed its business with the introduction of prepaid cards and a powerful mobile app. Customers could load money onto their Starbucks accounts and pay digitally, creating a system where the company held billions in unused balances. This provided Starbucks with steady cash flow, almost like a bank, but without being a financial institution. The app also gamified loyalty through points, rewards, and personalized offers. Customers were encouraged to visit more often to earn free drinks and exclusive perks. This digital ecosystem deepened engagement and provided Starbucks with valuable data about buying habits, allowing the company to tailor marketing with impressive precision. Over time, Starbucks expanded far beyond traditional coffee drinks. The menu grew to include frappuccinos, teas, sandwiches, pastries, and seasonal specialties. By diversifying its offerings, Starbucks increased the average spending per visit and attracted customers who might not even drink coffee, broadening its overall market. The brand also entered retail through packaged coffee, ready-to-drink beverages, and home brewing capsules sold in supermarkets. This allowed Starbucks to reach customers beyond its stores and become part of their homes. The company evolved from a cafe chain into a global consumer brand present in multiple daily moments. Starbucks became famous for its strategic real estate choices, often opening stores in highly visible, high-traffic areas. Sometimes, multiple Starbucks locations could be found on the same street. This wasn't a mistake, but a deliberate tactic to dominate foot traffic and prevent competitors from securing prime spots. By prioritizing convenience, Starbucks made itself the easiest choice. Customers rarely had to go out of their way, reinforcing the habit of daily visits. Location became part of the brand's strategy, turning physical presence into a competitive advantage that strengthened market control in major cities around the world. Despite its success, Starbucks has faced significant criticism. Some argue its high prices contribute to urban gentrification, pushing out smaller local cafes. Others have criticized the company for tax practices, environmental impact from disposable cups, and labor disputes as workers in several countries push to unionize. These controversies reveal the tension between global scale and local responsibility. As Starbucks grew into a corporate giant, expectations also increased. The brand must now balance profitability with social and environmental accountability, knowing that public perception can influence customer loyalty as strongly as product quality. Starbucks demonstrates that brand can be more powerful than product alone. By focusing on experience, emotion, and environment, the company turned a simple commodity into a premium lifestyle offering. Customers were willing to pay more because they felt they were buying more than just a drink. Another key lesson is the importance of consistency and long-term vision. Starbucks invested heavily in training, store design, and culture, ensuring the experience felt familiar worldwide. The company also showed that growth must be balanced with identity, as losing the brand's essence can be more dangerous than slow expansion. Even giants like Starbucks are not immune to change. Rising competition from specialty cafes, local brands, and fast-growing chains creates constant pressure. Consumer preferences are also shifting toward healthier options, sustainability, and more independent experiences, challenging Starbucks to evolve without losing its identity. However, Starbucks' greatest strength may be its ability to adapt while protecting its core idea, coffee as experience. If it continues to innovate in digital tools, sustainability, and personalization, the brand can remain relevant. But if it forgets what made people fall in love with it, history shows even the biggest empires can decline.